How to make a woman miss you, even if she's not interested. Listen, brother, let's be real for a second. You've probably been in that situation where you text a girl and she doesn't reply. You sit there staring at your phone, refreshing the screen like it's magically gonna change. You type out a second message, maybe something funny or sweet, thinking if you just try harder, she'll finally notice you. But here's the truth you don't want to hear. That's weakness. That's desperation. That's the behavior of a man who's forgotten his worth. And I'm not saying this to tear you down. I'm saying it because I've been there. Most men have. We've all done it. We've begged for attention we didn't need. We've lowered ourselves for scraps of affection. And we've handed over our power to women who weren't even invested in us. But here's where I'm about to flip the script for you. Her attention, her interest, her feelings, they are not what make you valuable. Your value was never supposed to come from her in the first place. Welcome back to the channel, the place where men come to cut the nonsense, rebuild their backbone, and step into the kind of power that women feel. Not because you're begging for it, but because you radiate it. Today, I'm going to break down how to make a woman miss you, even if right now she's not interested. And no, I'm not talking about cheap gimmicks or manipulative games. I'm talking about psychological truths, rooted in respect for yourself and an unshakable mindset that flips the dynamic entirely in your favor. Because here's the core principle you need to understand. Women don't miss men who chase them. They miss men who know who the hell they are, who stand tall, and who don't fold just because a woman isn't giving them the attention they crave. When you shift into that energy, she feels it. Even if she's cold right now. Even if she said she's not interested. Trust me, psychologically, the human mind doesn't handle absence and mystery well. When you combine that with a man who actually respects himself, you become unforgettable. So, let's get into it. This is the wake-up call. No more simping. No more waiting by the phone. No more crying over a woman who doesn't even think twice about you. From this moment on, you're gonna learn how to make her miss you in a way that's deeper than just playing hard to get. 1. Stop overgiving. Let me hit you with something real. The number one reason she doesn't miss you is because you don't give her the space to. You're always there, always available, always giving, 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 without realizing that overgiving is the fastest way to kill desire. Think about it. When you're constantly texting her, calling her, dropping everything just to be at her service, what message are you sending? You're telling her, my time doesn't matter. My energy is yours. I'll put myself second just to keep you happy. And while that might sound sweet in your head, to her it feels like suffocation. She doesn't get the chance to wonder where you are, what you're doing, or why you're not blowing up her phone, because you never leave that gap. Psychology 101. People value what's scarce. If something is always available, always in your face, always accessible, it loses its power. That's why people line up for limited edition shoes or fight for tickets to a sold-out concert. Scarcity creates demand. But you've been giving yourself away like dollar store candy, cheap, easy, and forgettable. Let me give you an example. Picture two men. Man A is constantly texting her, "Good morning, beautiful," every single day. He buys her coffee, cancels his plans to see her, and never lets her breathe. At first, maybe she enjoys the attention, but after a while, she starts to tune it out. It's background noise. It doesn't excite her anymore. Now, man B, he shows interest, but he's selective. He doesn't send a text every morning, only when he feels like it. He's got his own life, his own schedule, his own goals, and he sticks to them. He's not rude, he's not playing games. He's just not bending over backwards to prove his worth. Which man do you think she's gonna miss when he's not around? Which man sparks curiosity? Which man keeps her on her toes? Brother, here's the truth. Women miss the man who gives them room to miss him. And the only way you do that is by pulling back on the overgiving, Start putting limits on how much of yourself you hand over. Instead of rushing to reply the second her message pops up, take your time. Instead of offering favors just because you think it'll earn you points, hold back. Watch how fast she starts to notice the difference. And don't twist this. This isn't about being cold or cruel. It's about respect. Respect for your time, respect for your energy, respect for the man in the mirror. Because when you respect yourself enough not to overgive, you send a silent message. I'm not desperate. I don't need you to complete me. I'm already whole. That's the man she misses. 2. Be unpredictable. Now, here's another brutal truth. Predictability is the death of attraction. If she can guess your every move, if she knows exactly what you'll say and when you'll say it, you've already lost her attention. Why? Because the human brain craves novelty. It craves surprise. And when you strip that away, you strip away excitement. Let's be real. You've probably fallen into a pattern before. Same old routine. Same texts, same compliments, same invitations. You think you're being consistent, but what you're actually being is boring. And boring men don't get missed. They get forgotten. Look, being unpredictable doesn't mean playing childish games or trying to confuse her. It means breaking patterns in a way that keeps her engaged, keeps her wondering, keeps her thinking about you when you're not around. For example, if you're always the one initiating the conversation, stop. Let her be the one to reach out sometimes. If you always go to the same places, switch it up. If you always talk about the same topics, throw in something unexpected. Instead of texting her, "What are you doing?" for the 100th time, call her out of the blue, have a real conversation, and then disappear again for a while. That little shift creates curiosity, and curiosity creates longing. Here's the psychological trick behind it. When someone doesn't know what to expect from you, their brain stays alert. They think about you more because they can't fully figure you out. And women, whether they admit it or not, are drawn to men they can't fully predict. Not because it's frustrating, but because it's exciting. But here's the key. Unpredictability only works if you're grounded. If you're still needy deep down, trying to fake unpredictability, she'll smell it a mile away. You can't send her 5 desperate texts in a row and then suddenly ghost her for a day. That's not unpredictable. That's unstable. What I'm talking about is controlled unpredictability. Calm, cool, confident. Think about James Bond. Do women miss James Bond because he's always available? Number. They miss him because he shows up when they least expect it, leaves just as quickly, and always leaves them wondering when or if he'll be back. He's not chaos, he's mystery. You want her to miss you? Stop being a script she's already memorized. Start being the story she can't put down. Now let's take a second and really break this down, because if you don't fully understand why these first 2 principles matter, you'll keep slipping back into old habits. And those habits are exactly what keep you stuck in that weak, simping energy that women don't respect, let alone miss. Think about when you were a kid. Remember how badly you wanted a toy. Until you got it? The second it was in your hands every single day, the magic started fading. It wasn't rare anymore. It wasn't special. And eventually, it sat in the corner collecting dust. That's the same energy when you overgive yourself to a woman. You think you're proving your value, but what you're actually doing is stripping it away by being too available, too predictable, too easy. When you stop overgiving, when you pull back, something powerful happens. She starts to feel the absence. That silence you leave behind, that's where the missing begins. She starts asking herself questions. Why isn't he calling me? Why didn't he text good morning like he always does? What's he up to? Who's he with? Her mind starts working overtime because you're no longer flooding her with constant attention. And don't get this twisted. This isn't manipulation. It's not about tricking her. It's about shifting the focus back onto you, where it should have been all along. Because let's be real. When was the last time you put as much energy into yourself, as you put into chasing her? When was the last time you invested that same effort into your goals, your body, your money, your future? That's the real problem. You've been pouring into her cup, while yours is sitting bone dry. Here's the cold truth. Women don't miss men who orbit around them. They miss men who orbit their own purpose. They miss men who are scarce because they're busy building something greater. They miss men who stand on their own feet, not men who beg to stand on hers. Let me make this practical with point 1. I want you to try something this week. If you normally send her 3 texts a day, cut it down to 1. If you normally jump at the chance to hang out, start saying, "I can't, I've got plans." And here's the important part. Make sure you actually do have plans. Not just fake excuses, but real commitments to yourself. Gym, work, hobbies, learning something new. Fill your life with so much value that when you say, "I'm busy," it's the truth. That's how you become scarce in a way that feels authentic. When she asks why you're pulling back, don't give her some needy explanation. Just smile and say, "I've got things I'm working on." That right there is the sentence that makes women's minds race. Because now she's wondering, what things? Who's he with? Why isn't he prioritizing me like before? That curiosity is the seed of missing. Now let's expand deeper on point 2. Be unpredictable, because this one is huge. Predictability kills excitement. And a woman who isn't excited about you is a woman who won't miss you. Imagine a TV show where every single episode is the same. You know exactly what's going to happen. The same characters repeat the same lines, and there's no plot twist. Would you binge watch that show? Of course not. You'd stop watching after a couple episodes. But a show that keeps you guessing, a show that leaves you wondering what's coming next, you can't stop thinking about it. You wait all week for the next episode. That's the same effect you want in her mind when she thinks about you. But most guys are the human equivalent of that boring, repetitive show. She knows exactly what's coming. Good morning, beautiful text. Check what are you doing text. Check same date spot. Check same conversations, same patterns, same results. And then they wonder why she loses interest. Being unpredictable means adding an element of surprise into the way you move. Instead of always being the first to initiate, sometimes let her come to you. Instead of always taking her to dinner and a movie, one day take her to a hiking trail or a rooftop bar or something she didn't see coming. Instead of texting her nonstop, disappear for a day and then call her like nothing happened. Not with desperation, not with explanation, just like a man who moves at his own rhythm. Now, let me be clear. Unpredictability is not about chaos. It's not about mood swings or ghosting her completely. It's about balance. You want to keep her guessing in a healthy way, not stressing in a toxic way. When you do this right, she feels intrigued, not confused. That intrigue is what makes her miss you when you're not around. And here's something deeper. Unpredictability makes her question how much of you she really has. And psychologically, when people aren't sure how much they have of something, they start to crave it more. It's the same principle marketers use when they release limited drops. People rush to buy because they don't know when it'll be available again. You need to embody that same principle. Let me drop a truth bomb here. Women don't miss men who give them everything up front. They miss the man they can't fully pin down. The man who leaves a little bit of mystery behind every interaction. The man who doesn't reveal his entire playbook in the first 5 minutes. So ask yourself, are you too easy to figure out? Too easy to predict? If the answer is yes, then you've already handed over your power. Time to take it back. Here's a practical challenge for you. Next time you're with her, instead of talking about the same recycled topics, share a story from your past she's never heard. Or bring up an opinion that's bold, maybe even a little controversial. Watch how it shifts the energy. Suddenly, you're not the guy who fits neatly into her expectations. You're the guy who keeps her thinking long after you've left. That's how you plant the seed of missing. Let's be honest here, brother. The reason you've been simping, the reason you've been predictable, the reason you've been overgiving, it all comes down to fear. Fear of losing her. Fear of not being good enough. Fear that if you don't give her 100% of yourself, she'll run off and find someone else. But here's the paradox. The more you fear losing her, the more likely you are to lose her. And the less you care about that fear, the more she's drawn to you. That's the shift I want you to make right now. Stop operating from fear. Start operating from power. Because once you do, these first two principles, stopping the overgiving and becoming unpredictable, start to feel natural. You won't have to force them. You won't have to fake them. They'll just flow from who you are. A man who respects his time. A man who isn't a robot following a script. A man who moves with confidence, with variety, with purpose. That's the man she misses. Brother, let me drive this home with a story you'll never forget. I knew a guy. Let's call him Marcus. Marcus was the ultimate nice guy. He did everything for his girl. Cooked for her, bought her gifts, texted her all day. If she sneezed, he'd show up with soup. At first, she loved it. She bragged about how sweet he was. But after a while, she got bored. Why? Because Marcus had no mystery, no scarcity, no unpredictability. He was a walking vending machine of affection. She didn't have to earn it, didn't have to wonder, didn't have to chase. So she left him. A few months later, Marcus decided he was done simping. He started working on himself, hitting the gym, focusing on his career. He stopped being everyone's doormat. He stopped being predictable. When his ex saw him again, she couldn't believe the change. Suddenly, she was calling him, asking to hang out. Why? Because he'd flipped the script. He'd taken his power back. And you can do the same thing. Listen, if you've been paying attention so far, you already get it. Stop overgiving. Stop being predictable. But that's just scratching the surface. Because here's the hard truth. Women don't just miss men who give them space or keep them guessing. They miss men who are built differently. Men who carry themselves with a standard. Men who move like they're the prize. And this next part? It's about rewiring your whole mindset so she feels your absence on a deeper level. Let's get into it. 3. Build your world. Here's something most guys never figure out. Your value doesn't come from her. It comes from the world you create. If your whole life revolves around a woman, you've already lost. You've given her the steering wheel and she knows it. That's why she doesn't miss you, because you've got nothing else going on. You've made her the center of your universe, and deep down, that turns her off. But when you're a man who builds his world, your career, your health, your passions, your network, you stop being another guy begging for attention. You become the man she wants to be part of. And if she walks away, she feels it. She feels the gap of not being in your orbit anymore. Look at every high-value man you admire. Does he sit around crying over a woman who's not interested? Number. He's too busy stacking his money, chasing his mission, leveling up. And that's why women chase him. That's why they miss him when he's gone. So ask yourself, are you building a world she'd want to enter? Or are you just trying to squeeze into hers? 4. Master detachment. Here's the next psychological switch. Detachment. And let me clear this up. Detachment doesn't mean not caring. It means not clinging. It means being fully present when you're with her, but not losing yourself when you're not. Most guys do the opposite. They attach themselves like glue. They need constant validation, constant reassurance, constant proof she still likes them. That's weak energy, and it pushes her away. Detachment is strength. It's the ability to walk away if respect isn't there. It's the calm confidence that says, I don't chase what doesn't choose me. And here's the paradox. When you move like that, she feels it. She feels the difference between a man who clings and a man who could leave tomorrow and still be good. And that feeling, that's what makes her miss you. Because women don't crave men they fully control. They crave men who choose them but don't need them. 5. Embrace silence. This one is powerful, and most men overlook it. Silence. You think you need to fill every gap with texts, calls, attention, but silence is where the missing happens. When you don't respond right away, when you go a day without reaching out, when you let her sit in that space, wondering what you're doing, who you're with, why you're not blowing up her phone. Silence forces her to feel your absence. It makes her realize the difference between having you and not having you. And here's the kicker. If you've been over-giving, predictable, attached, your silence is even louder. Because it's a shock to her system. She notices. But silence only works if your life backs it up. If your silence just means you're sitting in your room sulking, that's weak. But if your silence comes from being genuinely busy, genuinely focused, genuinely invested in yourself, that's powerful. That's when she feels it. Remember this, attention is common, silence is rare, and rare is what gets missed. So, brother, let me connect these 3 points for you. Build your world. Detach from the outcome. Embrace silence. These aren't tricks, they're shifts in who you are. When you live like this, she can't help but miss you. Even if she told you she's not interested, even if she tried to move on, your energy stays with her because men like this don't come around often. And if she doesn't miss you, good. That means you're too far ahead for her. That means you're ready for a woman who actually deserves the man you're becoming. By now, you're starting to see the pattern. It's not about chasing, it's not about simping, it's not about trying to win her over with endless effort. It's about respect for yourself, for your time, for your purpose. And when you live like that, women feel it, they sense it, they miss it when it's not around. But I've got 2 more principles for you. 2 final weapons that will lock this all in place. 6. Control your emotions. Let me say it plain. If you can't control your emotions, she will control you. And a man under emotional control is a man who never gets missed. He gets pitied. Think about it. The guy who blows up her phone because she didn't reply fast enough? Weak. The guy who gets jealous every time she talks to another man? Weak. The guy who cries, begs, and pleads when she pulls back? Weak. But the man who feels the emotion, acknowledges it, and still moves with calm strength. That's rare. That's powerful. That's unforgettable. You don't need to be a robot. You're human. You can feel anger, sadness, even heartbreak. But you don't let those feelings dictate your actions. You don't lash out. You don't fold. You hold your ground like a rock in the storm. That's the man she thinks about at night. The one who didn't lose his head when things got tough. The one who kept his composure while every other guy would have cracked. Control your emotions, and you control the game. Point 7. Walk away with pride. Here's the final and maybe the most important point. You must be willing to walk away. No hesitation, no begging, no second chances if she disrespects your value. Because here's the secret. Most men never learn. Walking away is the ultimate power move. It's the one thing she never expects you to do. Every other guy clings, bargains, compromises, but you know your worth. You know that if she doesn't see it, someone else will. And if no one else does, you still do. When you walk away with pride, you plant yourself in her memory. She may not admit it, but deep down, she respects it. And often, that's the very moment she starts to miss you the most, because she realizes she lost a man who refuses to lose himself. But here's the catch. You can't fake this. You can't pretend to walk away just to lure her back. It only works if you truly mean it, if you're genuinely prepared to move on and never look back. That's what separates boys from men. That's what makes her feel your absence long after you're gone. Now listen carefully, because this is where it all comes together. You've been conditioned to believe that the way to a woman's heart is through more effort. More texting, more gifts, more attention. But effort without respect is wasted. What she misses isn't your constant presence. It's your absence when you're living in your power. She misses the man who doesn't overgive. She misses the man who keeps her guessing. She misses the man who builds his world. She misses the man who's detached. She misses the man who embraces silence. She misses the man who controls his emotions. And most of all, she misses the man who's willing to walk away. That's the blueprint. That's the psychological trick. Not games, not manipulation, just raw self-respect and masculine strength. And brother, let me hit you with this final truth. If you live this way, you won't even care whether she misses you or not, because you'll be too busy living a life that excites you, building a world that fulfills you, becoming a man you're proud of. That's the real prize. Women, they're the bonus. So here's your call to action. Stop simping. Stop begging. Stop waiting by the phone. Take this energy, take these principles, and apply them. Watch how fast everything changes, not just with women, but with your whole life. And if you're ready to keep leveling up, becoming stronger, sharper, harder to forget, then make sure you subscribe to this channel. Because this is where men come to stop being boys, to stop being weak, and to start becoming the kind of man the world and the women in it can't ignore. Conclusion. Stay sharp, stay focused, and never forget your worth. Remember, it's about being confident, passionate, and authentic. It's about being a man of value with emotional depth and a sense of purpose. When you embody these qualities, you'll attract someone who appreciates you for who you are. Before you go, I want to leave you with one final piece of advice. Never forget your worth. Never forget that you're a unique, talented, and deserving individual. Don't settle for anything less than what you deserve. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'll be creating more content to help you become the best version of yourself. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.